Methodism has a long history in both Missouri and Eureka. The first Methodist preacher crossed into the Missouri Territory when the flag of Spain was still flying over the old government house in St. Louis in 1800. Within 50 years, a Methodist preacher made his way to the Eureka area, a circuit rider, Wesley Browning, traveling by horse and spreading the gospel to small congregations throughout the rural area. Across this old bridge over the Merrimack River and through farm fields, residents living in Eureka traveled to a sturdy rock house, a private home located off of what is now Highway W, to listen to the Word of God from the circuit rider. By 1859, services were moved into town to a former log schoolhouse at the corner of Virginia and West 4th Streets. Peter Brown, a prominent resident at the time, donated land for the building of 3 new churches, Methodist, Episcopal, and Catholic. In 1880, the doors of the first Methodist Episcopal Church South opened, costing $1,200 to build. Our church is the only one of these 3 initial churches to remain in its original location. When Brown's daughter Henrietta died in 1920, she willed $4,000 to the Methodist Church to help build a new sanctuary and classrooms for a small but growing congregation. Opened in 1924, the building honors her contributions and remains as the Henrietta Brown Building in our current church. The Eureka Methodist Church continued to thrive, and a group of Methodist women began serving businessmen's lunches every Wednesday in the late 1950s. The money eventually went toward the purchase of the old Catholic church land, which is now our church's parking lot, as well as toward several renovation projects. In 1964, the educational building opened. Reverend J.L. Mundy, who became pastor in 1981, remembers a small congregational meeting in what he called the Old Chapel on the Hill, which opened the next chapter in the history of our church. After listening to members' visions, the charge was clear: build a new, larger sanctuary. Ground was broken for the new church, which eventually opened in 1985 at a cost of $600,000. The downstairs kitchen and fellowship hall were completed over the next several years. Word got around that the Eureka United Methodist Church was a growing and vibrant place for worship. Joy Drool, who lives across the street, joined the church when he was just 9 years old. He has been a member for 67 years and currently is our longest living member of the church.
My memories of the Henrietta Brown Eureka Methodist Church started a long time ago. My father came here in 1929 after he graduated from dental school. I did a lot of crazy things over the years, including climbing up on the steeple and yelling at the kids going down the street. And I played ball in the backyard there where the present educational building was a garage, and actually hit a ball into the stained glass window that luckily didn't break. I've seen a lot of growth. I was involved in the educational building, getting it planned and money raised, and also the present sanctuary. Back when I was young and in the old church building there, in the summertime I always had the windows open. And since we lived next door, as I still do, we could listen to the sermon without ever having to go to church, because the preachers back then talked a little louder than they do these days. I think the church has a great future. The people here have banded together. There's a lot more members now, and this new project will be wonderful. There'll be a good future here for the Eureka Methodist Church.
Today, our church still thrives. With just over 800 members from that initial group of 40 in the old stone house, our church is about to celebrate yet another chapter, the building of a new education building. The vision of that Methodist circuit rider, then, to spread the Word of God, remains vibrant today, and Eureka United Methodist Church is still that chapel on the hill, but now with larger, bolder visions of the future.